Today's video, taking a look at Mel Kiper's way too early 2022 NFL Draft prospect rankings at wide receiver, is made possible by Magic Spoon, cereal that tastes way too good to be true. It's actually healthy for you, and yet tastes like the ones we grew up with. Get $5 off your first order at magicspoon.com/chat. Let's get going then. Number one on Kiper's way too early list, Garrett Wilson, the Ohio State wide receiver. And yes, we'll get to the other one here in a little bit. Now, he was 11th overall on Kiper's way too early big board, and although I didn't necessarily agree with some of Kiper's quarterbacks and running back lists, which you can also find on the channel, folks, I'm on board with this one, with Wilson leading the way at number one amongst receivers. Not elite size, he's not a DK Metcalf size player, but he's got everything else you want. He's a good route runner, good hands, big play after catch, all of it there. Now, I do wonder how Garrett Wilson and his teammate Chris Olave will fare without Justin Fields, but he's a damn good football player. The same is true of our number two player, at least Kiper's number two player, Treylon Burks, the wide receiver out of Arkansas. Big-bodied guy. He's like 6'3", over 225, 30 pounds, depending on how he's being weighed exactly there. He moves very, very well for someone as big as he is. And Arkansas moved him around. He got a lot of slot reps. Hell, he even got 15 carries. That size usage combo is fairly rare at the college football level. Now, much like a lot of guys on this list, he is facing some quarterback uncertainty for 2021. I do want to see him be utilized more as a vertical threat. He has the size to do that. But in 2020, I think he made Felipe Franks look a lot better than, well, what Felipe Franks actually is. Now, of his 51 grabs, 38 came from the slot. All 7 touchdowns did. I want to see him get some more outside run as well, but I think Burks is correct to be this high. I thought I was being a bit bold by putting him in my way too early mock draft, but I think I was right. Everyone's kind of come around on that one. Now, if you guys want even more NFL draft videos, do me a favor and share this one. It's NBA season right now here at Chat Sports. I'm getting outvoted. But if we get some more shares, the bosses said I can do more of these videos. So help me out and share this one right now. Number 3, oh, look, another Alabama wide receiver prospect. Look, the Crimson Tide have had a historic run. There's no other way to describe it there. Historic run of recent wide receiver prospects. 4 went in the first round, right? Now, I don't know if Metchie is as good as Waddle and Smith and Ruggs and Judy. Even if he's not, he could still go in the first round. I think him at 3 is maybe a little bit high, but I don't want to discount him too much. I thought Metchie played great, especially after Jalen Waddle's injury. And now he gets to show what he can do as the unquestioned wide receiver 1 on this team. He was very impressive in a receiver 2 role, with teams trying and failing miserably to stop Devonta Smith. Now we get to see what Metchie can do in the lead role for Alabama with the new quarterback in charge there, Bryce Young. So who do you guys think, then, as we got a bunch more players to get through, who do you think is the number 1 wide receiver prospect for the 2022 NFL Draft? If you get the ad break here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Scroll on down, head to the pinned comment, and put your favorite prospect right there. Number 4, Chris Olave, the other Ohio State receiver, who are both, by the way, really, really good. Number 25 overall, mind you, on Kiper's way too early big board. Very smooth, very fluid, solid route runner there. PFF, by the way, I wanted to give them credit because I did like this comparison. Gave him the Calvin Ridley comp. And I think that does make some sense. I don't think Olave is going to be a 4-3 guy or whatever, but he's very smooth. He's fluid. I think that there could be a Calvin Ridley type of role for Olave in the NFL. Both of these Buckeyes receivers are just absolutely incredible in terms of what they're able to do. The success that they've had is nothing short of fantastic. I've been very impressed by Olave and Wilson. And if you want to go with Olave over Wilson, I get it. I think Wilson's the better prospect. I think he's just a little bit better despite the production gaps there in terms of what they're able to do. So what do you guys think? Who is the better Ohio State wide receiver? Type in GW for Garrett Wilson or you can type in CO for Chris Olave. Get your votes in for me right now in the comments section. To number 5 now, USC's Drake London. Very imposing stature, 6'5", 210, and is really dynamic and dangerous after the catch. Now, with some recent losses at wide receiver for USC, the St. Browns, for example, this does set up London this year to, I think, be the true, clear-cut, obvious number 1 wide receiver. He was just a true sophomore last year, and he still produced despite the very weird COVID-19 season where he wasn't quite as, getting as many opportunities from a per-game standpoint. Only 6 games last year, still pulled in 33 catches for 502 yards. Broke a lot of tackles. I like London. I think a bit of an under-the-radar player since he wasn't draft eligible at all last year, but I am very intrigued how he fares in 2021. You guys can get $5 off your first order of Magic Spoon cereal when you head to magicspoon.com/chat. We will have a clickable link for you guys in the comments section and in the description, by the way. So head over, magicspoon.com/chat. It's very healthy for you, high in protein, low in carbs, 0 grams of sugar, by the way. And unlike some of the other ones, it's not going to rot your teeth. It's not going to get you fat. It helps you get rid of maybe you've got a dad bod like somebody. It's me, by the way. $5 off your first order at magicspoon.com/chat. Number 6, George Pickens. Now, the talent is unquestionably there. And I think for almost every top 5 receiver list out there, Pickens would be on there if he didn't tear his ACL in I believe it was March. It was late March, early April. March, thank you. He would be viewed as a top 5 wide receiver if he was healthy. The uncertainty about if he'll be able to play this year or when he'll be able to play this year really impacts his draft stock. And we've seen players come back from injury and be just fine. There is always the, okay, well, we just got to wonder there. He's also been, I think, negatively impacted by what I'm going to call inconsistent quarterback play for the Georgia Bulldogs in recent years, especially early on in 2020. He put up almost 750 yards as a freshman. Pickens is talented, but the medical is going to be the major cause in terms of what kind of impact he has immediately. Number 7, Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. Now, he's got plenty of highlight reel plays. I do think there's been a little bit of inconsistency there, but there is value on punt returns. And, oh, by the way, again, a common theme on this one, folks. The quarterback play wasn't exactly ideal from Penn State, especially early on last year. Sean Clifford did not start the year the way I think anyone hoped he was going to in Happy Valley, but there is talent there in Dotson. Now, I don't think this receiver class is quite as stacked as last year's, but again, Dotson brings you big plays. 9 games, 8 touchdowns, 52 grabs, 884 yards there. It's a 17 yards per catch average. He's a good football player. Not the biggest guy out there, but I think as maybe a wide receiver 2 or maybe a wide receiver 3 on the outside with a great slot receiver, I think Dotson could handle that role pretty decently in the NFL. So do you guys love the NFL? Because we certainly do here at Chat Sports. That is why we give you guys videos every single day, multiple times a day. If you want more NFL videos, simply hit that big red button and join us right now. To number 8, Justyn Ross, who based solely on talent, much like George Pickens, would be a top 5 player. He had the future round 1 draft prospect label after his freshman season. 46 catches, 1,000 yards. It was insane. 9 touchdowns, averaged almost 22 yards per catch. However, for Ross, he missed 2020 with a spinal condition that, at least at the time, was viewed as a potential career ender. Now, the plan is for him to play this season. If he does, awesome, because the talent is unquestionably there, but the medical is going to be the number one thing. Even if Justyn Ross puts up, let's say, 70 grabs, whatever, 1,000 yards, 8 or 9 scores, awesome, the medical will determine exactly where he ends up going. There is still the possibility that NFL teams might not clear him. Number 9, Jalen Tolbert. If you're going, who? That's okay. I don't expect that many people really watch South Alabama games, but he is the nation's leading returning receiver based on yards. He is a small school player, but has the production, has the size. The post-season draft process will be critical for him. He should be Senior Bowl eligible. He could go impress against other top corners, better level of competition, help himself out there. If he tests well at the combine athletically, then size, production, Senior Bowl, all the potential red flags will have check marks by them. So for Tolbert, again, I mentioned the production there. 11 games last year, 64 grabs, over 1,000 yards. Yes, of course, Devonta Smith was better than him production-wise, but he's in the NFL. Tolbert is the leading returning receiver in all of college football for this season. I am excited to see him play in 2021. Now, earlier I asked you guys who you thought the best wide receiver draft prospect was. Who is your favorite one, however? What prospect, even if it's not the best, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. Who is your favorite one? And yes, you can go full homer and pick the best receiver on your favorite college team if you want. Number 10, David Bell. This is the other Purdue wide receiver. Now, he's not as dynamic as Rondale Moore is, but he brings more size and, frankly, brings more durability as well. I think in the NFL, with especially Rondale Moore being the fun, gadget, slot, dynamic playmaker, Bell is much more of the outside possession wide receiver. I think could get some slot reps if needed as well, but probably bigger body, outside possession threat in the end. Bell has had pretty decent production, though. In 2019, remember, Rondale Moore missed most of that year. David Bell went for 1,000 yards in 12 games. This past year, by the way, 6 games, he had 53 grabs in that season, despite, again, not the best quarterback play. The average has never been all that great, but Bell does bring you some reliability at the wide receiver position. So what do you guys think? We got some names that I want to mention to give some shout-outs because Kiper only went to 10. Who was he hating on? Which prospect do you think Mel Kiper disrespected? Get your votes in right now, and you might see some similar names coming up here in just a second. So I got 10 more names. I'll kind of go rapid fire here. First off, elite name alert, Romeo Doubs. Don't sleep on the Doubs' strong connection for Nevada. It's actually really good from a college and NFL perspective. I like Reggie Roberson a lot. He was banged up last year, suffered a knee injury. If he comes back healthy, I'm thinking potential top 100 guy. Dominick Blaylock could benefit from the injury to George Pickens, but he's also coming off a torn ACL, so we'll see how he recovers. Fryfogle is a good player for Indiana. Big play threat. I think maybe should have cracked the top 10. Charleston Rambo, here's your transfer alert. Oklahoma to the Miami, Florida Hurricanes. He's also got another former teammate, Jaden Hazelwood, could be a guy to keep an eye out for at Oklahoma. The other Minnesota receiver, I guess the other Minnesota receiver, Chris Ottman-Bell, he's pretty intriguing. Zay Flowers, some big play threats there. If Justyn Ross is 100%, Frank Ladson is the name to keep an eye out for Clemson. They're replacing some big-time players. Ladson is the next guy up. And then small school alert from Northern Iowa, Isaiah Weston, the other name I wanted to mention here on today's video.